Hi, and I hope you have a very good day. My name is Aina Zulaina binti Zulkifli, and today I will be a presenter on this video conference. And the title of my research paper is the Sentiment Analysis of Online Product Reviews using Lexical Semantic Corpus-Based Technique with the co-author of Dr. Reha Aminuddin and Nur Aiza Mokhtar. For the introduction, so basically what is online review? Online review is an evaluation of services or products made by a consumer who has bought and used or had experience with the services or product, as it is a form of a consumer feedback on electronic commerce or e-commerce. And why is online review is important? This is because people find it difficult to trust the product just by looking at the description and the picture of the product that was stated and attached by the seller. And based on the online review also, they can finally make the decision on the product, whether the product is good or not, or whether they want to buy the product or not. And from the vendor and seller perspective, online review is great for vendor and seller to mine consumer requirement for improving their goods or designing a new brand or merchandise primarily based on the consumer online review. Next is for the related work. This project will be using a sentiment analysis approaches. This is the example of the sentiment analysis approaches. However, this project will be focused on using lexical-based approach as it is more suitable to analyze the product review based on the keyword or lexicon. Therefore, the technique that will be reviewed on this research paper is the dictionary-based approach, corpus-based approach, statistical corpus-based approach, and semantic corpus-based approach. Okay, for the first technique, this is a dictionary-based approach. This approach suitable for searching the similar or identical in the dictionary to the target region and useful in the practical information extraction from document. And from the corpus-based approach, this is approach suitable for teaching tools such as vocabulary, grammar, and languages users to learners of English as a foreign language. And for the statistical corpus-based approach, this approach is to measure translation quality by comparing the features of translated and original text. And lastly, the semantic corpus-based approach. This approach can be a tool to assist companies or business owners in better understanding the product or service evaluation. Therefore, based on the research on the technique, this project will be using a semantic lexical corpus-based approach as it can be a tool for consumer to make a better decision making. And the semantic corpus-based approach can extract both sentiments like positive and negative judgment and help consumer in their decision making. Next, for the proper solution. The general framework for this project is to develop a web-based system for the consumer and the seller or the vendor to know the review of the product based on the sentiment analysis, whether it is positive, neutral, or negative. This project will be using MySQL as a database and Python as a programming language to categorize the sentiment. And it will categorize 10,000 product reviews of 5 brands from the online platform named Shopee on the year of 2017 until 2020. And this project also will be categorizing the product review that was written in English as it is uses an English dictionary for the sentiment analysis. Next is the general framework for the sentiment analysis. First, we will see the customer review on the for Shopee, and after we see the customer review, we will make it a data extraction where we will get the customer review from the Shopee using a autopass and save to Excel. And after that, we can make a sentiment analysis. And in the sentiment analysis procedure, we need to make a filtering and pre-processing the data by using the data extraction that we have saved in the Excel. And we can make a sentiment classification where we will calculate the polarity and we will make a visualization of the sentiment. Before we can categorize the sentiment, we need to do data extraction first. Data extraction is a process to extract or retrieve data from the data source, which is Shopee, that is needed for further data processing. In this project, the data is extracted through the application named Autopass. And this is the example of the data extraction from Shopee in Excel format using the Autopass. And after that, before doing the data processing, the extracted data need to be cleaned by removing the unnecessary column. And this is the example of filtered data that have been removing an unnecessary column. As you can see here, there is a shop URL, content, image, and this is the only things that we will be using to make to further our project and to make the categorizing of the sentiment. Next, the data pre-processing needs to be done to remove unnecessary information such as image, symbols, stop words, numbers, and white space. And for identifying and removing the stop words, the system used an English dictionary library called WordNet. And this is the example of the unnecessary information that need to be removed. And next is the example of clean data in Excel format. And this review is a unclean data where we did not yet remove the unnecessary information. And the new review is the clean data that have been removed the unnecessary information. After the data pre-processing had been done, the data can be classified using sentiment analysis. During the sentiment classification, it will calculate the priority and categorize the sentiment for the product review based on the priority. For this project, whether lexicon was used as the dictionary that contained the positive, neutral, and negative lexicon. After that, the sentiment intensity analyzer will analyze the positive, neutral, and negative, and it will calculate the priority based on the analyzed sentiment for each review. After the priority had been calculated, it will show the value for each of the review based on the priority. Then it will categorize the sentiment based on the priority. This is the example of the code for categorize the priority. If the priority is more than 0, then the review is positive. If the priority less than 0, and the review is negative, and if priority is equal to 0, then the review is neutral. After the polarity had been categorized, it will display the visualization of the sentiment using the word cloud, pie chart, and the line graph. This is the example of the code for the word cloud. In the word cloud, it will have a cloud of positive and negative sentiment. As you can see here, this is the example of the code for the positive sentiment. First, it needs to divide the positive and negative sentiment from the review. Next, it will use the positive sentiment review through the Excel file to tokenize the review by using the val split function. By using the val.split function, and the val.split function will split each of the lexicon from the review sentences, and it will club the lexicon. That always appear on the product review by using the word cloud function. This word cloud function is a the automated generated in the Python, Jupyter Python, and that is the and then this is the how you plot the word cloud, where you can change the setting of how it might look like for the word cloud. Next, for the discussion of the data visualization of the sentiment. First, this is the example of the word cloud for the positive sentiments. And next is the example of the word cloud for the negative sentiment. Based on the data visualization, the analyst can assist the company to understand which product or service that can be improved or removed. For example, based on the negative sentiment, the analysis show that the bag has the highest negative reviews. The review is based on the quality of the bag. Therefore, the analyst can help the company in distinguish which product has the poor quality. This will help the company to make a corporate decision when making and selling a product. Next, the discussion for the word cloud. The word cloud will display a repetitive lexicon that always appear in all the reviews. Therefore, there is some lexicon that will appear in both positive and negative word cloud, as Shopee have automatic keywords such as good product quality, good value for money, fast delivery, excellent service by seller, very poor services by seller, very poor product review, and delivery time below expectation in the review section. And based on the data visualization, also the analyst can assist the company to understand which product or services that can be improved or removed. Next is the example of the pie chart. As you can see here, this is the overall of the product review from the year 2017 until 2020. This is the overall of the product review that can be categorized. And as you can see here, there is 79.2% that has a positive review and 3.7% that has negative review. Next is the example of the line graph for sentiment based on year. As you can see here, this is from 2017 until 2020. As you can see here, 2021 there is zero count of the positive or negative or neutral sentiment, and we can see how much the count based on the year. Next is the example of the line graph for sentiment based on month. On the previous one is the line graph for sentiment based on year. And you can see the difference between the months and year, where you can see the line graph is different between the months and year, and you can see more on the month where you can see how much on each month that the sentiment has a positive, neutral, and negative review. Next is the example of the line graph for sentiment based on week, and in here you can see more detail how much of review based on week on the positive, neutral, and negative review. Next, there are a few limitations that have been found during the development of this research paper. First, product reviews that contain languages other than English cannot be completely filtered out and visualized. For example, if other languages were found in the review, such as Malay and Chinese, the system cannot display the word. This is because the dictionary used in the project is in English. Therefore, it creates a problem for the system to process and visualize the review. Next, the lack of lexical word for the sentiments. The dictionary used on the project does not have every positive and negative lexicon with the value to calculate the priority. Hence, it does not calculate the lexicon and keep it as neutral. Lastly, a number of data extraction can be increased and crawling review data in other websites besides Shopee. Next, there are some future recommendations to explore the full potential of the project. First, the scope can be broadened to other brands besides Void brand, or even compare the review sentiments with other brands. Second, the data visualization in the system can be improved and made it into auto-generated and based on real time every time the user refresh the website. Third, the use of dictionary that contain languages other than English to make the review can filter out the other languages review for the sentiment. And lastly, this project can be made into mobile application to make it easier for users to keep track of the sentiment on the mobile application. And finally, for the conclusion, this project used a lexical semantic Corpus-Based technique as it can calculate the priority of the sentiment and categorize it into positive, neutral, or negative sentiment, and it can be a tool for consumers to make a better decision making or as a basic for product or service improvements. And finally, that brings us to the end. I would like to thank you for your time and attention to finish this video conference. I sincerely appreciate that I have this opportunity to present to you regarding my research paper on the sentiment analysis of online product review using lexical semantic corpus-based technique.